Excellent. So if you had your signal cut out, you didn't quite hear what we had to say, we will have this video posted on our web page for the soil quality restoration information for this year. This will replace the old video. So again, if you want to go back and refer to it, or for anyone who was not able to attend tonight. So we are going to have a short presentation followed by some question and answers for maybe any individual questions. And I guess I thought I would start by just first congratulating you for coming and for learning more. I do think that's a, a testament to you, to always wanting to keep learning. And I think that tells us that we are definitely hitting a chord with our citizens. So the Soil Quality Restoration Program began in 2022. It started out as a grant. The Polk County helped us with it. We are now not working out of that grant. We're able to fund this ourselves. And as a city whose identity is the Greenbelt, we as staff are very interested in protecting Walnut Creek, which is at the center of the Greenbelt. We're also very interested in preserving private properties from damage due to erosion. Now, I do want to mention that this year, soil quality restoration is one of 3 programs that we are offering to people. We had a tree sale earlier this year. We have soil quality restoration that you're all listening about right now. We also have a 3rd program called the Stormwater Assistance Program for individual projects that are outside of trees, native trees, and outside of soil quality restoration. So if you have another project, certainly give me a call, and we'll see if you have another eligible project. So let me go on to the next slide and just talk about the city of Clive. Since we are a city, we've got a lot of roadway. We are urban. We have a lot of parking lots. There's an awful lot of concrete in town. And so when rain falls, it flows through our town, goes into those storm sewer intakes that you see here. That second picture, the storm grate. We have a lot of roadway, and we have a lot of miles of storm sewer. And eventually, all of that water ends up flowing through all of our waterways, not just Walnut Creek or Little Walnut Creek or North Walnut Creek. But you can see that when we have a lot of volume, a lot of speed, we can have a lot of erosion and other damage when we're not good stewards of our resources. And that's what this picture here with the house is. You can see the stream banks heavily eroded here. Those are the things we're trying to get a handle on. We're trying to manage the things that we do have control over. I do want to look at this picture on the far right. There's a lake here. There's been some runoff. Again, we're trying to really be responsible stewards, not only for our own town, but for everybody downstream of us. Our watershed starts up by Dallas Center, and then it works its way down to us. And again, from where we are, we're connected to a larger watershed also once the water leaves the city. So let's talk about that water. So when our rain falls down, the stormwater gets into our intakes and our ponds from all of the impervious surfaces that we have. So for most of us, and the focus of this program is to kind of offset all of that, the water that's falling on our roofs and our driveways, our patios, the pool decking, all of that water, instead of sinking down, permeating the soil, that goes straight into our storm sewer intakes on the street. So we do have, however, some rain that will fall on the lawn, and the lawns look like this. And that is the sign of poor soil quality. So when storm water comes down and it runs off of or actually a lot of it, I've seen some of this, the water it comes down in sheets off of these lawns. That's just a practice, from a period of time when mass grading and removal of topsoil was a standard for the builders in our city. That has not happened in recent years since our post-construction stormwater manual was adopted. But we still have an awful lot of lawns that are like this. And underneath that grass, that soil quality includes a lot of compaction, small pore size, the particle size and shape of that soil, all contribute to water running off almost as if it were concrete. So like I said, I've seen water on some of these lawns that just comes down in sheets and flows away. And the turf will struggle to grow because the water cannot get down into those roots. So we may see a lawn like we have here on the left, or we might see unevenness like the lawn on the right here where it's patchy. I don't know if anyone can relate to this, but we're going to try to help you try to fix that. This image is in here just to show a profile or a cross section of a poor performing soil. So it is lacking in organic matter. You can see the color looks rather yellow and pale. The roots are not very penetrating very deep. Air can't get in. This is something that we can address with our restoration program. And I think Ben's got yep, you're nodding. We've got a good picture of the equipment that we use to kind of combat that here. So the basics of soil quality restoration include remediation through reducing that compaction, increasing the pore space and organic matter, which we do through our certified compost product that we use. This will help improve that rain absorption so we don't have those patchy lawns or the turf that never really thrives. So better absorption of the rain, a greener, healthier lawn, and increased pore size so we have a better gas exchange. And Ben, you want to talk about this?
So these are two of our pieces of equipment that we use in the soil quality restoration process. The fun yellow one on the left there is one of our Stinger aerators. It's designed where the tines are actually under the engine compartment. So you have maximum penetrating of those tines to get the deepest pores we can in the soil that we're aerating. And then the hopper on top, for those of you interested and those of you who have already purchased this option, is the seed compartment. So as this machine pulls those plugs and aerates the yard, it also feeds grass seed down into those pores to hopefully get grass to grow quicker, fuller, make your yard much more lush. The machine there on the right is our compost spreader. It's a broadcast spreader that spreads compost evenly. To get to our specs of 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch, we're looking at 4 passes with this machine over your yard. And so we expect results to look very similar, just with more plugs on top, more soil plugs.
So I want to emphasize the idea that the tines are underneath that heavy engine. Mm-hmm. So we've got that extra force to hopefully pull out a bigger plug. Is that
absolutely
the right?
And the design bigger plug means the better, like you said, the better gas exchange with that poor soil quality to increase that organic matter and increase that oxygen flow. Yeah.
Okay, very good. So the way we're doing our program this year with A+ is through a batch and build approach. So like I said, we started doing soil quality restoration back in 2022, and we are still using the same cost share model where we will take 50% of that cost with you up to $1,000. And when we can do a big group of us together, it's very efficient, both for the processing on my side in the office and for Ben out in the field. It's easier for us to acquire that product in one big lot. I'm sure you understand, like we go to Costco, instead of, getting one thing here and one thing there, we're going to get a whole big case of something, right? So it's kind of the same idea. So when we can group all of us together, we can do we've got enough space to do about 80 residential lots. Hopefully it makes it easier for you as a homeowner, so you're not out, getting bids or, trying to work with, you've already got one person working on your lawn and now you're trying to find someone else you can kind of work in with that same schedule. Hopefully this is going to make everything much simpler for you. So here is the process that we have followed. I'm not sure how all of you came to learn about soil quality restoration. I don't know if you've saw a sign in somebody's yard back in 2022, or if you, again, just saw some neighbor with a great yard over the last year, or maybe you saw this in the newsletter, but the application period started basically a year ago. And I just collected everybody's email addresses, and I asked everyone to confirm that they were still interested. They had until the end of May to do that. That is, gone, come and gone. July is when the city did their competitive bidding process. We ended up awarding to A plus. That was last month, and we are currently in the offer stage of the process. And that means that I measured your yard, got as close as I could with our aerial tools. The resident, you'll look at that area. Is this accurate? With the pricing that we got through the bidding, you also look at the price. And so we are now in that acceptance. You are in that acceptance stage. So you've considered, and then if you want to go ahead and have the work done, you will both sign that easement document that will give A plus and give us permission to enter your property during the span of this project. And then you will also pay your half. Or if it's more than $1,000, that's on you, because we're limited to $1,000, and we are hoping to get started on September 2nd and be done by the end of that month. So I guess I wanted to add here, I believe I remember A plus, you could do up to 90,000 square feet of yard per day for aeration.
Yep.
So that would be one day, and then you would have seeding done that same day.
If they get the seeding, the aeration and the seeding would happen the same day. And then our goal with the compost is to have it down within 24 hours of that aeration.
Very good. And so this is a photograph of measurement that I did of a random yard. I'm not sure whose yard this is, but this includes the rights of way that are in between the street and the sidewalk. Some people have questioned that in the past, so I just wanted to mention you're going to have a much more even look when you look at your house if the right of way and your yard are all matching the same color, they're treated the same. The only exception would be, if you had some kind of like if you're on, say that's you backed up to that stretch of 100th, there's backed up to 128th, something like that, then I excluded that. You can always let me know about any questions you have about your yard. If you feel like the estimate was high or low, we can talk about that. Our pricing came in this year at 14 cents a square foot. So in this example, we took the square footage, the area that I've got shown in the blue outline here in this photograph, came up with a total cost and divided that in half. This is less than $1,000 for the city, so we will meet you that full 50%. Like I said, if you have a question, let me know. I can only use the most recent imagery that we have, however. So if you have added a shed, a patio, a deck, something like that, which may not show up on the aerial, I will need to have that remeasured. If you've got, say, a swing set or a trampoline, then you're going to go around those, right? You're not treating underneath those.
Yeah, we'll get as close as we can without doing any damage. That's our big thing. We can't get too close.
All right. So that's the process that I use to get those offers to you. When you get, look, the part that I wanted you to go to is I circled in orange the spot when you go to pay. There's a field for you to put your phone number in. It is not required. You can skip it. But if you would like to get a notification and you skip that, you'll need to send me a separate email if you didn't include it in your payment. The information that you enter on that payment portal is used to supplement what I already have on record. And that's what I send to Ben. So, and I think I remember that A Plus is going to get a hold of you as soon as you're placed on the schedule.
Mhm.
And then again, 2 days before your time slot comes up.
Yep.
Okay.
And
So,
when we
and you can have multiple email addresses, multiple phone numbers.
right, those notifications when they come out, we like to send them out email and text. I know my email, if I see something from a business, I just usually delete it. So the text message is a great option. So I encourage you to put your phone number down there.
Okay. And the only other thing I'm thinking of, I forgot to put the agreement in here. When you pay, you still have one more step to do, and that is to sign your agreement and send it back to me. I want you to make sure that the Exhibit A and Exhibit B match, and that this is actually your yard. So we're not giving permission for the contractor to come and aerate the neighbor's yard, but your yard. All right, so I need you to double check that for me. I will always also check it, but I know when you've got house numbers that are very, very close to each other, or you've got a house number that's on one street and on two other streets, that's sometimes a challenge. It can be a lot. So please double check me. I'm definitely not infallible. All right. So, oh, look at this slide.
So the two of us that are working for A Plus, the closest with this project, it's obviously a team effort. We're all hands on deck for this project, but Ken and I, our names rhyme, but we're very different guys. We're the two that are kind of spearheading this, and just the photos there, we're really proud of this. We have a state of the art compost trailer that can haul up to 20 cubic yards, has a conveyor belt to make it and load directly into the blue hoppers, our broadcast spreaders there. It's a pretty slick process and makes for easier cleanup and less mess in the streets. Um, but our email addresses are there. If you need anything, please contact us. We'd love to work with y'all.
Very good. So, we already talked about the notifications. There are a few things that you might want to do before and after your treatment, and I will send everyone a copy of this list. I'm hoping to do that on August 28th. Some things to do before the the aerator comes out is to locate and mark any sprinkler heads, landscape lighting, invisible fencing, shallow utilities like internet. Um, I'm trying to think of some other landscaping elements that I've seen, but I think you get the idea. If you could mow your lawn before the crew comes out, um, definitely pick up all your pet waste and toys. Ben, will you treat if there's anything like that present? You're just gonna go around all the toys, like,
It kind of it's up to our tech's discretion. 9 times out of 10, if it's just a few toys here and there, our techs will gather them up and put them on the back stoop or whatever. If there's a lot, our techs will contact me, then I will get a hold of Julia so that we can get you rescheduled.
all right. And then if it's been dry, we think you'll get a better result. You get a bigger plug for that aeration if you will water. And then no chemical treatments a day before. So Ben, do you want to say anything about that?
Which just the chemical treatments. If you're an A plus customer already, we have that built into our scheduling. If you have another provider, just make sure you're coordinating with them. It's not a deal breaker, but when we aerate, we break that seal of whatever chemicals were put down, and so I don't want to waste your time or your money. So make sure you're coordinating that with your other lawn care companies as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and then after the aeration, within 24 hours, we're going to have the compost spread on the yard. Um, it looks like it's dirty. It kind of is dirty, but it is safe.
Mm-hmm.
Um, definitely safe. We're recommending that you wait a week before you mow. We're also, especially if you get that seeding done, we're really recommending that you water the lawn. You may need to do some raking, where it says loosen or fluff the areas of thick crusted or compacted compost. Hopefully everything's nice and even with those 4 passes of that broadcast spreader on your lawn. But again, maybe corners, I'm thinking.
Yep.
That
Corners
might be
against fences. Yep.
Yeah, so that might be an area that you would like to pay attention to. Again, we want this to look nice and even after the treatment's finished, and your new grass grows in. And then no chemical treatment for the week following.
Yep.
And again, I will send everyone on the work list a copy of the pre and post things for you to do. Do you want to add anything else, Ben?
No, with the loosen areas of thick crusted or compacted compost, a lot of times what you'll find is with moisture just in the air or in the yard or whatever, that compost can clump up together. It's literally just as easy as touching it with your toe of your shoe, and it should break apart.
Yeah, and it is a pretty fluffy product. It's not I don't even know how to explain it. It's
Fluffy is a good word.
yeah, it's fluffy. It's not like you bought topsoil. It's not like that at all. All right. Oh, well, here's some more about the compost. So it is from Metro Waste Authority. Again, it's not dirt. I mean, it's the same color, but it is not dirt. So you should not expect it to do the things that dirt does. It will not level any areas in your yard. It's there just to improve the soil quality. So if it's going to help your grass, it's probably going to help any other plants such as weed. It is not made with manure. Pete, do you want to add anything about the process of how this how the
Well,
compost is made?
we have had a very, very active severe weather summer and spring, which has led to a lot of tree debris going down. I know that there were 6 semi-loads of tree debris taken out of just Clive from one of the May events that was particularly damaging in half of our city. The good news, though, amidst all those tough events, is that there are some silver linings. And one of them is that all that tree waste did go out to Metro Waste, where it was then put into the compost program. And through the process of turning and breaking down that material naturally, it dries out a little bit and then ultimately becomes this compost product that we now can return to the community. So it's a nice full circle story this year, a nice little silver lining in the wake of some of those hard storms.
All right, thank you for sharing. So I'm going to show this little video here from A+. Again, our specs call for 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch of spreading. And let's see, here we go.
Yeah, so in this video, you can see them applying that compost, and you can see the areas they haven't applied. So you can kind of compare the before and the after in that video. And that's just one pass. So they had 3 more passes after this. But just so you know kind of what to expect your yard to look like.
Yep, excellent. Oh, let's see here. All right, so compost, again, Pete explained how it's made. It's a natural fertilizer. Were you going to say something?
You're good.
Okay. All right. So again, no chemical application because of the reasons Ben mentioned earlier. You could spot treat for weeds, but again, you might want to follow the label. The label, being a beekeeper, I have to say the label is the law. So overseeding, it can be done. It's an option, I guess, is what I would say. The ideal time would be to do it after that overseeding. The city is not paying for that. That's outside of the scope of our program this year. So if you did want to do any seeding, that would be on the resident. It doesn't matter to us who does it. If you want to do it yourself because you've got your special, seed mix blend. Ben, what do you want to add about that?
No, that's it's the perfect time of the year is between the middle of August and the end of September to overseed your yard for the spring to really give those roots time to take root. Um, so for convenience sake, not having to pay that trip charge to get somebody out there. If you're at all interested, it's on a slide coming up. I also put it in the chat. Our salespeople, they have over 60 years combined experience in lawn care, specifically in chemical applications and aeration and overseeding. Um, Darren and Jamal, they'd be happy to talk to anybody and answer any questions you have about overseeding as far as costs or any other lawn care needs that you may have.
Okay.
It's a great idea to do it at the same time.
All right. Just like we said before, we strongly encourage watering. It helps the compost work down into those holes that were left behind the day before. It allows for that great gas exchange. It's not like you need to do it a lot. It's not absolutely required either, and maybe it's going to rain also. If we happen to have, like we did in 2022, if we happen to have a lot of drought, just dry, long periods of dry, then you may need to be doing some watering just to prepare your lawn for the equipment. Let's see, anything else? I'm reading the slide here.
No, that's if your yard looks like this and is that dry, we will still do the process. It won't be as effective as if you water because those plugs won't be able to penetrate as deeply.
And then how would you determine where it says watering as needed? How would you determine if you do need it?
That's a really good question. For
like
me,
a toughness test, or how do you
so for me, when I do my yard, honestly, I take a shovel and I put it straight down into my yard. And if it goes down relatively easy, great. If I have to jump up and down on my shovel to get it into my soil, I'm going to need to water a little bit more.
Like how deep are you trying to get your shovel?
3 inches.
Okay, so same as the plug that you're
Yep.
Okay, very good. All right, so let's take a look at that overseeing that you were telling us about.
Yeah, Darren and Jamal, again, more than 60 years experience in this industry, both doing it and selling it. Their contact information is there. They're fantastic, knowledgeable solution specialists. So if you are even interested or have questions, they're great to contact and run by. Their email addresses are there. Apologize for the long email addresses, but their phone numbers are also there for you if you'd like to give them a call.
Okay, and that is the end of our presentation. The main thing that I'm concerned about is that everybody understands this is a first come, first serve thing. We don't have that much product to get everybody's yard treated. We have about 90, well, yeah, we do. We had 94 people, went down to 93 today. We have 93 people still interested in having their yards in the program this year. So if you want to choose to join us this year, you will need to both pay and sign and return that easement document giving us permission to enter your property. And then again, if there's any notes or any other questions or concerns, please get a hold of me. You can always give a call or send an email, and we try to just reach you wherever you're at. And then I guess, do we have any questions?
Thanks, Julia. Thanks, Ben. Reminder for the group that if you do have a question, you can use the chat function, and you can send those to chat to me directly, Pete DeCook, or you can send them to everybody in the group. Give it a moment here so folks can send us their information.
So I do have a question that came straight to me, and it says, if our shed and landscaped area is not included in the PDF, how should we proceed? I would say send your address to me, and I will just verify with you and recalculate the area of your yard, and then possibly send you a new offer. All right? Let me know if that doesn't answer it.
Thanks, Julia. We'll give folks a minute here to keep gathering up their questions. Okay, so the next question that came in, it says, will this help yards that have a clay-like soil condition?
Yep, so the short answer is yes. Ben, have you seen a yard that's got a lot of clay before and after treatment like this?
So yes, I agree. That's the short answer. Clay is tricky. That aeration and getting that organic material down into that clay to help make it more porous and less dense is a process. It's not going to happen after one application. It's not going to happen overnight. To really improve that, it's going to take several aerations, several overseedings, several applications over time. Um, we live in, the DoorDash society where we want it right now. This is one thing that you have to be a little patient with, especially working with clay soil.
Right.
The other thing I would mention is that we have people participating in 2024 who also were part of the program in 2022 and or 2023. So again, if you are looking at maybe adding some native plantings or something else to break up that soil, if it's clay, I guess not soil, breaking that up, you might be a candidate for the stormwater assistance program. If you want to give a call to Ray or me over at Public Works, you're certainly welcome to do that too.
Right. The next question is, how long until the lawn looks somewhat normal after the application?
I'm assuming that we're talking about that dirty look that is fresh after the application. Honestly, and we have lots of systems of checks and balances within our company. It's very difficult to see the full application even as soon as 4 or 5 days after the application. I'm guessing a week and your yard's going to be looking relatively like it did before we were there.
If I can vouch for that too, as somebody who has not used this program, but somebody who has done soil quality restoration on my yard. Yeah, after that period, you might have a few footprints that kind of come in with you on your shoes in some places where maybe there's a little bit thicker application or it wasn't completely incorporated yet. But it is a very light, fluffy product. When it's dry, especially, it doesn't tend to walk too much with you after it's been put in there, especially after, like Ben said, it's had 2 or 3 days, a few days to really incorporate it into those pockets created by the aeration. Okay, next question. Could we do only a portion of our lawn?
Yes, you can do just a portion of your lawn. I will need you to get a hold of me either in person so we can look at your map together. And you can point out the areas, or we can work it by email back and forth. That's another good way to do it.
Excellent. Thank you, Julia. Next, a follow-up from that same person. Yards that have a tendency to gather fungus conditions every year, will this help? Ben, what do you think?
Funguses are typically caused by moisture. So anything that's going to increase the absorption of moisture into the soil, I would assume would be good for the fungus. I'm not necessarily a lawn care treatment expert. I focus more on the maintenance and the landscaping portions of that. But I could definitely get back to Julia to get a more educated answer on that.
Next question, is there any other cost not covered in the amount on the PDF? And by PDF, Julia, I assume that means the offers that you've been sharing.
If you want to do the aeration, and the compost spreading, that is included.
So
That's what the offer is for.
right. Right. So no other costs beyond that.
No,
It's
no,
just
if you need to modify anything for the, the area that we're treating, that there's no cost for that. If you're asking like a change order, there's no cost for that.
got it. The next question, the seating contacts, are they separate from A plus, Ben? I believe that is not the case, that those are also A plus employees, correct?
Correct. They are A+ employees. Correct.
Okay, great. Uh, Then there's a validation from a gentleman here, it looks like, who let everybody know that he has seen an SQR application on his neighbor's yard, and it only lasted a few days, especially after it had been watered as directed. So that's, appreciate the validation there. Question from Tracy then is there a repeat customer on this call? Would they be interested in the experience, pros, cons, weeds, etc.? I can speak a little bit to just what we've heard, or Julia and I have seen over the last 2 or 3 years as we've been doing this. And then we would be happy also to, Tracy, if you want to email us directly afterward, and help you make some connections with some others who might be able to validate with their own experiences. But you mentioned weeds, and Ben kind of spoke to this as well. We're putting on a yard here something that helps all of these natural things kind of keep growing. These are nutrients. These are really firing those plants up. So if you've got weeds now, applying soil, improving your soil quality can potentially create an environment where those weeds will continue to thrive. It will not be eliminating those weeds. But also though, if you have got what you consider to be more desirable species in your yard, we would expect that this is going to be the type of thing that they're going to benefit from too. Same way with the decompaction, when you've got looser soils that are able to catch and absorb more water, you're putting something that all of that organic material needs to be able to thrive. And you would expect then that it's going to have a sort of a net benefit to all of your green material, all of your growing stuff in your yard when you do this work. On the con side, Ben, Julia, are there others that you can think of? I know we've really focused on how beautiful this can make your yard and the benefits it has for managing soil quality, benefiting from managing stormwater well. But any cons that you would want folks to be aware of before they say yes?
I can't think of a con, but I would say this is the first year that we will have a repeat customer through this program.
Yeah.
We could have people who've done it year after year on their own, but they're not. I don't recognize any of the names, and I don't think we allowed repeats last year.
Yeah, that's correct. It is a dirty process. You're gonna definitely know it. I'd say that's the con that comes to my mind. If you've got a pet and they get out in it, it's gonna come back with them when they get back into the house. But it isn't forever. It's just for a few days, and the benefits far outweigh, I think, some of those inconveniences that you have when you've got the material out on your yard. The other thing I can say from working with A+ last year is that their teams really do a good job keeping the material where you want it, right there on the yard, and they'll go through and kind of clean off your surfaces afterwards, so you're less likely to walk it into your house, off your driveway or your sidewalk. And should that, the application get a little thick in some areas, or there's something else that didn't go right, we really are committed as a city with our partners to hearing your concerns and then working with you to get those resolved. Inevitably, when you're working with this many families and this many square feet, some things are going to pop up. We want to hear about them if there's an issue so that we can address them. Okay, next question. Is it necessary to reseed after treatment?
It's not necessary, no. But if you're interested, that would be the time to do it.
Yep, you've got all your ingredients to increase the likelihood of getting to success with that good stand of turf that you are looking for in your yard when you put all of these good ingredients together. It looks like we just got a note that the link to pay appears like it might be down at the moment. When there's a question, then will that be live after the meeting? Julie, I believe the link is live or should be live right now.
Yeah, we had several people pay today, and the only thing I'm thinking of right now is that we use Express Bill Pay to run that payment. So if they're doing any kind of maintenance, we can't control that. That's on our service provider. But we definitely have had several people pay beginning last Thursday until right before I left today. So I can certainly check it. I know some people have a little difficulty using the shortened links, and once I send them the long, all that big long string of characters, that has seemed to work for them. You can also always walk a check into the office along with the rest of your paperwork, and we can get that processed for you.
Got it. Oh, and it looks like it looks like it may have just been something with the PDF links that we had there versus the email.
Oh,
If you use the link that was in the email, it looks like we've had another person here on the call able to get to the site. So Mark, thanks for bringing that to our attention on the PDF issue. And we will do our best to get that cleaned up if we can with the next batch that we send out. But I'm glad that Meryl, you confirmed that to everybody else that you can use the link as it was in your email and should be able to arrive at the right spot.
yes, thank you, Meryl.
Okay, we'll give it another minute or two to see if we've got a few more questions that pop up. These have been great. Appreciate everybody getting their good questions in for the benefit of the entire group.
Yes, I do appreciate that. I know sometimes it's hard to, you think, oh, you're the only one that this question might apply to. And again, I do want to say thank you for your time. I know everybody's time is very, very valuable. I do appreciate you, Ben and Pete, for coming on and helping everybody learn. Because again, I know you all are busy. You could have other things to do with your time. And, to be interested in helping our stormwater management, it definitely, when we all work together, you can make a really big impact, not only for your yard, but for, everyone in your neighborhood and region.
Right. To give you a sense also of the reach over these last 3 years, Julia, if I remember right, our first year we were able to work with about 113 different families
Mm-hmm.
and a few businesses. And then the next year it was about 80. And this year we'll see how far we can go with the dollars as people are signing up. But where there's been enormous interest and just good experiences that households have had across Clive have had, from our easternmost neighborhoods to our westernmost neighborhoods. Y'all are joining a group of folks who are benefiting from this program and also are making a really positive statement about how much you care about the overall health of our soils and the benefits that creates for places we love, like the Clive Greenbelt and Walnut Creek. So we appreciate your good stewardship very much.
Well, it looks like maybe that was the last of our questions.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
Looks like it. It looks like it, Julia. Why don't you wrap us up?
All right. You know what? I am going to put in the chat, just in case you haven't heard enough from me. You can always use the water resources at cityofclive.com email address. That's monitored by multiple people, and they will make sure I get the message. If you happen to lose my email, which is my name is Jay McGuire at cityofclive.com. But I really love interacting and helping people with their yards. So definitely give me a call. I appreciate your time, and we'll be in touch with all of you. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Julia. Thanks, Ben. Thanks to everybody. We all look forward to hearing from you in the coming days.